Recording. And welcome to Life Cafe, everyone. So we do have everyone muted, but you have the ability to unmute yourself. So if you would like to share and come on, and for those of you who are new here, we want to give you a very, very warm welcome and really encourage you to come on and share and introduce yourself and say where you're from if you are so called to do that. So this is our community where we get together and meet in presence and really see and hear each other, maybe ask questions about anything going on with life, making sure that you are participating in self-care and taking care of you, because when you take care of you, you are taking care of everyone else. And I think we have forgotten that as a world in general. So we're here to remind each other of that. All right, we have a lot of people on. If I'm going to remind you how you can share, there's a reactions button at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to do mine for a minute. If I click on that reaction button and I raise my hand, that's my ability. It lets me know that I want to ask a question. You may have this, you may not have this. If you don't, you can write in the chat or you can kind of wave us down. We want everyone to have an opportunity to share who would like to. We would like to keep the shares, make sure that everyone has time. So maybe around 5 minutes if we can. And then of course, so that we give everyone an opportunity. At about 12:45, we're going to start to wind down the shares and go into our meditation. We do a meditation at the end where we bring in the love and the light and then send it out to the world. It's a beautiful thing that we do. And when we do it collectively, it just has a beautiful amount of energy with it. So that is how Life Cafe runs. Again, we still have people coming in. So I am admitting people. Stacy, I'm going to try and make you co-host, my dear, if I can find you so we can get on with our Life Cafe. In the meantime, those of you who would like to join in and do shares and introduce yourself, please do. You can raise your reaction or you can write in the chat. It's easier if you do the reactions for me to see on your screen, but I will toggle between the chat, and then Stacy usually comes in and lets me know that there are people in the chat that want to share, but I'll do my best to look as well. So welcome to Life Cafe. Ask any questions about end of life, doula givers, cases about life, shares that you want to bring forth, or again, just simply introduce yourself that you're somebody new here, and we'd love to welcome you with open arms. Okay, I did see a hand go up, then I saw a hand go down. So who would like to start us off? I'm going to go in the chat box to see. And of course, you can say hello in the chat and say where you're from, because you never know when you have another doula that's close by you. Liz Foley, thank you so much for kicking us off in this beautiful Life Cafe.
Hi there. I'm doing well. I'm part of Universal Life Mastery class.
Beautiful.
I'm not able to make it tonight to our coaching, but I
Okay.
had a thing happen yesterday that I thought was just so applicable to that class, but also to this group.
Okay.
I am a teacher and I'm also an artist, and I'm working towards that Death Doula certification. But I have this workshop called Envisioning Joy, and it's where I ask these questions. It's meditative, and I ask 10 questions or so, and just get people thinking about what they want the present to look like. Okay, so that's the background.
Yep.
So I did that session 4 times yesterday with about 30 kids each. So I did it between 100 and 120 kids. Came home, was tired. I decided to watch the Joan Baez documentary. And I was having this moment of like, oh my gosh, this woman has done so much and I have done so little. And I paused myself and went, wait a minute. You did the Joy Project with over 100 students. And I was able to stop myself out of that ego and go, all right, I got this, and kind of recover really quickly. So I wanted to share that with you and everybody in the group, because I think we marginalize what we do and who we are. And so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so for those of you, we have Universal Life Mastery, where we really bring in all of the teachings that we've learned from, honestly, working with those at the end of life about how to make the life journey the most important that it is. And we, not to get too far off because I don't want to lose people, but we are human beings. There are two main parts to us. And what Liz was just emphasizing is the ego, which we love you, ego. We love you, love you, love you, because we don't push it away, is always going to be part of coming up and really blocking you from your alignment, from your success, stopping you from, again, knowing the truth about all that you are and owning that. And wow, Liz, the fact that, first of all, planting seeds and working with the younger generation is so vitally important, and helping them to find that joy place. Amazing. Just amazing what you did yesterday. And I love the fact that you caught yourself immediately with the ego, again, from just an awareness, because can you imagine that you just did this incredible amount of work at heart-centered, nothing more important than that. And that the ego came in and said, oh, you haven't done anything with your life. Excuse me, wait a minute, what? And that's amazing. And we all have that. We all have that, those moments. And so it's really as simple as being able to recognize it with the Ray technique and shifting, recognize that it's the ego, and then coming back to the truth. That's huge. Liz, one question for you. How old are the children that you were working with?
They were seniors in high school.
And
So
how,
I think
yeah,
17.
okay. And this is so rich and important because, again, people at the end of life will, and people who have followed all of, what we talk about brings happiness and the goals, and they've said that that was not it. It is the connecting with the joy. And we forgot to teach that to our children and ourselves. What is joy to me and how do I access that? And I want you to, so here, I really want you to take away that every single day, find your moments of joy, sing that song, go outside and just feel the breeze, feel the sun on your face, resonate with the gorgeous nature, because it's that connection with the being part of us that really aligns us with the presence, and presence is where we can find joy. Like, for example, just look at your animals, your dogs particularly, because they're just so in the moment. Their tails are wagging. They find fun in everything. Like, we can have that too if we just kind of get out of the head space and more into the heart space. That's huge, Liz. Bravo. Thank you so much for sharing that. We all learned so much from that, and amazing work that you're doing, my dear. Okay. Helen.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you, Glenn. This is my first live cafe, so
Welcome.
I'm thanks. Excited to finally be able to join. I actually joined the program in December. Kind of got through the holidays in January, and it was busy, and really kind of kicked it into full gear in February. I'm a registered nurse. I did hospice way early in my career, and it was probably the most, I guess, just fulfilling. You've done it, you know it. It's like,
Yes.
but again, I left it because I had to see 8 patients a day, and I couldn't do what I needed to do. But
Yeah.
oh my God, the stories and
Yeah.
the grace that I was gifted with to be part of some of their experiences, it really altered the way I had thought about, with death. So anyway, in the last 20 years, I've been doing nursing informatics. Signed up for the course thinking this is going to be great. I'll be getting ready for my next chapter when I retire in 2 years. And I'm like, why do I have to wait? And it was the other day doing some meditation and self-care,
Yeah.
taking care of myself here. And I've been getting into a lot of that over the last few years. But it was like, well, why did I put that limitation on myself
Yeah.
that I have to wait till I'm retired? So, I'm jumping in, and it's like I do the day job, and then I at night after dinner just jump into all of this. And it's just like, there's the passion. That's not work when you're so eagerly drawn to it. So yeah, I'm from
Oh,
Easton, Pennsylvania. So I'm
okay.
curious to see if anyone nearby. I've Googled some folks, and I found one person in my area
Great.
that may be still practicing, but I'm just delighted to be here and an avid learner and going in as if I know nothing and absorbing everything I can. So thank you.
Oh, that was great. And I think, again, like, let's go back to the beautiful ego, because the ego part of us, your personality, what you've been taught, it serves a purpose. So everything comes from a place of love, but, we're told when I retire, we're really told these limiting beliefs. And I think that we have to, and I love the fact that you said, go in with eyes wide open, be a learner that you know nothing. I think that, let's look at life like that. Like, let's wait for what's coming in. And if I may, I just want to share a little bit about my transition from a hospice nurse to a doula giver was being so unsatisfied, knowing that no matter how hard I worked, how many hours I put in that I wasn't being paid for, I still wasn't achieving those good deaths for those families, because there's just so much that has to be rewritten here, gaps that need to be filled. So as hard as I worked, that wasn't going to come from within the system. And again, the minute that the awareness hit me that, wait, death is not a medical experience, it's a human one. We know how to do this. We can teach people to do this. It changed the game. It doesn't have to be medical. It can't be medical. So what I was doing was taking clients. I had an elder care client that I had a couple of days a week. I was doing lots of advanced directive planning, aging well plans for that consulting piece. And then I would have an end of life client. And the more that built up, as soon as I could meet my bills, so not past that, but I could meet my mortgage and pay my bills, I let my hospice job go. And then I put everything, the energy, into the doula givers, and then the rest is kind of history. But I segued into it and I didn't wait. And I kind of, just knew that I was supposed to be making more of a difference. And that's really what I'll share with you, how to do that as well, those of you that want to transition. But don't put, I love that you just shared that. Don't put caps on it. You can start doing things now. You can start doing a library event or building a list or feeding your soul in that capacity now, and then it will organically build up to what it needs to be for when you want it. And again, it may happen before you retire, but it may not. And when you're ready, let's not get in the head, let's get in the heart. And we know we need to make a difference out there, and it has a ripple effect. So that's absolutely gorgeous. Okay. Beth Montgomery, you are next.
Hello. So happy to be here. Good to see you again.
Great to have you.
This is my first time here too. And Helen, I'm also in PA. So if you want to connect, I would love to do that.
Yes, look at that. I love it.
Yeah. So first time here, I absolutely love what Doulagivers Institute is doing in my life and what it's doing in my community surrounding, because I have talked about it nonstop.
Love it.
The really interesting thing is when I started saying it out into space, people were like, oh yeah, like we need to talk about death more. And I found myself feeling really, like underqualified, because I didn't really sit with anyone who has passed. I never volunteered for hospice. I've only experienced, I can count on one hand how many deaths I've experienced, and only sat bedside with one. And that particular instance was why I got so engrossed in the death doula, hospice. What did I see? What was I looking at? It was absolutely traumatic for me. And the more that I understood, the more I saw that there was this gap in the system. And I didn't want to be a nurse. You nurses are so wonderful. But I'm not a school person. And I knew that I wanted to come from a spiritual place and a holistic place. So I looked at all these different kind of doula certifications, and Suzanne, like, I just loved your energy. I loved what you were doing. And then you got on a call with me, and we were just talking, and I was like, yes, sign me up. So I signed up, and I did what you suggested and completed that first certification of the care consultant. And I immediately went and did a death cafe, because I was like, who am I to teach people, right? Who am I to do that? So I said, death cafe sounds a lot more easier, because then it's like everybody else is talking and all I have to do is provide the space and all that stuff. I realized really quickly that we need to have these conversations more. And people were like, we want more. And so I said, I know it's extra credit, but maybe I'll do a death, doula day event that's teaching. So I looked at the library, and then I was like, well, I'm going to do it alone. Like, I'm going to partner with people in my community, because I'm a networker. And so we can refer. So I have 4 presenters, I have an MC, I have a music person. It grew so big. So it's not just my event, it is the community's event. I have hospice, I have funeral homes, we have a concert venue. It's going to be at a concert venue of all places, because what I discovered is people just don't want to, oh, look at that. People just don't want to go to a funeral home or a hospital or, and I want my ideal client, because you were like, the ideal client is this person in one of your podcast episodes. And I said, well, my ideal client is that, and someone who doesn't necessarily feel comfortable in talking about death and dying with a hospice nurse, or in the event of that type of thing happening. So here it is. And I hope, we're anticipating like 200 to 250 people. We've partnered with a really big hospital here. We've partnered with, a caring place that, specializes in children. And I'm really excited. And I'm just so excited for the support that you've given, Suzanne, and your wonderful team. And I just wanted to come on here today and like see all the other wonderful faces that are part of this community, because I know I'm not alone.
No. So Beth, chills all over the place. I'm just saying, let's just take a minute. What a amazing thing you're doing. Can you please put your contact in the chat? I think people want to know about your event. Wow. And this is, again, there's so much here, but I want to share with you all life, death like this, right? So you can have events that encompass, and you should. When we talk about even the level 1 training, if you've realized there's so much life in there, the life lessons, right? Because that's what part of it. But doing community events, so just a couple things I want to highlight from that is that you're doing a big event, right? So it's like the whole circle, the full circle, but you also are bringing in other wonderful people in your community that you're doing this together. And that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. So even when I recommend for those of you who are doula givers, your Death Cafe, which is one of the simplest, most beautiful, easy ways to just host a place that people can come talk about that. Invite your funeral homes, invite your senior centers, invite your children's hospitals, because we all have this in common. We are a community, and then they can branch it out. And all of a sudden you have this shift in the culture. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So exciting, Beth. I know that people want to know more. And just, are you live streaming that by any chance, even though that's a whole different thing, or it's just a in-person, which is phenomenal, by the way?
It's in person right now, but we do have the capabilities perhaps to live stream it.
Okay.
So
And just what I would recommend, if just from when you do the live event, if you can have somebody recording some of those events so that you can then package it and put it together if you want in the future, because capturing those moments could be great to be ongoing outreach for you. So it's just kind of like an idea. But congratulations, and thank you for showing up. Thank you for inspiring us and being here with that. It's thrilling. It's just thrilling. Oh, you guys are amazing. Okay. Danielle, you are next. Just unmute yourself, my dear. You press that microphone. Where did you go? You just press, yeah. So if you click on your red mic, it'll unmute you.
Am I unmuted?
There you go. You got it. You got it. Hi, where are you from?
Hi, I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, great. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm listening to all these wonderful people, and they talk a lot about their backgrounds, and I don't have any type of background in most of this. I come from a sports background and a pet care business, lots of animal rescue. So I'm kind of coming in from scratch here, but I've lost both parents in the past few years, and that really opened my eyes up to a lot. And I do deal with people grieving for their pets and making that decision. So I do help a lot with that, which of course is different, but again, it's the same. So I read during COVID, I'm a big reader. I read a book, and it mentioned death doula, and I've not been able to forget that. I haven't been able to forget that. So my dad he was not sick his entire life, and that last year of his life was horrible. And I kept coming back to that book. So in the past couple of months, I was Googling around, and I saw you, and you were absolutely incredible, and you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
So that's where I'm coming from. So I really enjoy listening to all of these people and their
Yep.
backgrounds and what they're doing. Hello, sorry, Amazon, and now my dogs are barking. So that's me. And I did see somebody else is from Sarasota, Florida as well, popped on here in the message. So that's great for me too, if you want to get together.
Beautiful. I love that, Danielle. The pets are so important. And it's interesting because I feel like sometimes we have more sadness, or it's just different with our animals. And again, honoring, like, we need to address all loss. And I think wherever we specialize in is really important, again, to bring into this space. So what I want to do is if you guys want to put in where you're from in the chat, just so you can meet each other, because it sounds like there's a lot of synergy here. So if you just want to put in your chat, Suzanne from New York City or wherever it is, just so you can find each other, that's great, because it does seem like a lot of matches. And I want to take a minute and hone into and really talk about this not having experience for a minute.
How do I mute myself again?
Yes. Oh, you just press on the microphone again. Or
Okay.
I think I can mute you. There you go. I just did it. I want to talk about this because, again, it really goes back to that ego and then the heart. And so one of the examples that I think I would tell myself this in nursing school or being a young nurse is that doctors didn't come out of the womb with all their knowledge, which, because the doctors with nursing and, the doctor says, and, sometimes in nursing, if you don't know something, that it's like you do get, it's an interesting dynamic. However, did doctors come out of the womb with all that knowledge, or did they have to go through and learn it? And for myself, and I know I tell this story when I'm teaching the level 1, and it's really important. And I know there's no mistakes that God, universe, whatever your belief system makes. When I was being called to hospice, when I heard, go to hospice, you're not happy here, I felt an expansion, a warmth, a beautiful feeling when I thought of that. And then my mind said, well, why would I go to hospice? I have zero end of life experience, nothing, no grandparents, no nothing. I had one patient who had her end of life, but again, it was in med surg. I wasn't with her. I just knew she was going to die on my shift, but I felt called to go there. And so becoming a hospice nurse, I was leaving a job with less benefits, less money, more hours, and no experience, and mostly no experience. So it took me 3 times but I knew I was comfortable with end of life for whatever reason. And I knew that I felt something I had never felt before when I was aligned with working in that space, even though analytically it didn't make any sense. And I literally said, I'm going to risk. And first of all, it's not risking it all. Actually, risking it all is not stepping out of your comfort zone and following your heart. That's what risking it all is. But at the time I said, I'm just going to follow this and see what it is, because I'm not happy. And I just went through all of nursing schools because I thought that's what would bring me the happiness. And I'm not happy at all. And I don't want to live my life this way. So when I did go to hospice, the first day, I knew I was in the exact place I was supposed to be. So I want you to know this, that don't get in your head about not having a background, not having end of life. You need to know that you're supposed to be in this space, and then things will show up for you and you'll build. What is great, what you have, those of you who are doula givers, you have all of that knowledge in one place. We've been honored to have hospice nurses say how much they've learned in the doula givers training. Why? Because it's a decade and 1,000 patients of experience in one place. So you're already way ahead of it. But also remember this, that when there's an end of life that's a terminal diagnosis or somebody's sick, which is usually how we work in doula givers, it's not an emergency. That if something is going on, that you can always ask senior doulas, that you have your frameworks. So don't let the ego block us, that we don't have experience, I'm not supposed to be here, or I don't have experience, I can't do it. You absolutely can do it. We're going to do a lot of mindset work in here because it's really important, because that's part of how we learn. And again, if you can show up in presence and compassion and kindness, you can be a phenomenal doula giver and a phenomenal human being. So show up every day with that. All right, Jenny, you are next.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jenny Nazak in Daytona Beach, still working through my practical service hours. I've
Great.
actually gotten three, I've had three patient/clients, and long ago 15 hours, like many, many times 15 hours, but I have not yet presided at the bedside, of an actual passing. Unfortunately, I caught COVID when I thought I'd be able to be present with my former landlord who I was helping to care for. What I love is how this fits into my occupational umbrella. I'm a sustainability educator, and my work includes writing, blogging, public speaking, landscaping, helping people clean and declutter. I mean, it's like, and teaching people how to sew and upcycle old junk. So with my current client, who is a neighbor, I've been able to help her and her husband. Thanks to the training, I was able to identify, oh, good, now they're out of the shock phase. Now we're in like the graceful golden phase. And we thought he was at end of life. Like when they signed him up for hospice, they were thinking he's not going to last like 3 weeks. But he celebrated his 93rd birthday the other week, and the smile on his face, like he was almost a different person. Yesterday, my friend and him, her husband, they were able to walk to breakfast. I was like, golly.
Wow.
Like, well, I mean, he's in a wheelchair, but she was able to push him. And it was beautiful. It was like they both brightened up so much. And I've been grateful for the thing about staying in the heart, assessing each time with the 3 questions, because the support network does change. The questions change, the answers change each time. Like, oh, you've got VA support. We didn't know you had VA support. So we're going to go to the VA and listen to what's available. She didn't know that these family members really wanted to come help, and she's got them coming to give her respite so she can go do her self-care. And so thoroughly enjoying that, and just really grateful for this program. Thank you.
Jenny.
Oh, and another thing, a local friend, we've both been friends of a local congregation that has a lot of elderly people. And she contacted me. She said, hey, I see you posting about this doula work course you've taken. Tell me about it. So I told her about you and the course. And I think she came to one of your free sessions. And she's like, well, let's do a death cafe. So we're like hatching plans to do a death cafe by Zoom. It's very exciting.
So exciting. I mean, just all that you offer, and I love it. One of the things I just want to say that I feel like my perspective, the gentleman who is like, just kind of, you said he's like a different person and everything. So this is interesting, because when we work with those at the end of life and we see the personality, the human part dissolving, it literally dissolves as their spiritual part is raising, their light being, their soul self, it just becomes more prominent. And it's the most beautiful, beautiful thing. And there are many times, and you maybe heard this expression, maybe not personally, but you've probably heard it, is that people have said getting that cancer was the best thing that happened to me. And when I was a young nurse, and of course, not everyone says this, I couldn't believe that anyone said this. And so what they meant, though, now I understand what they meant, is that they finally found their true self, who they really are, that heart-centered self. And when we're in this course, you guys, we're going to be talking about self-care doula. And what are we doing, for ourselves, not just for self-care, but enriching our purpose and our journey and our connection, because that's what life's about. So we can strengthen that light part of us, that soul, heart-centered. It's like a muscle we need to exercise. And so what you're seeing with that gentleman is that he is becoming organically, because that's what happens, and he is soaking up every morsel of it. And you know what? How beautiful that is. So that is actually what happens. But I want to capitalize on that now. I don't want to wait till I get there. I want to learn that I can do, and it's work. It is work. It's not a lot of work, but it is just an actual intention, or remembering to connect with my heart, or when the ego pops up saying, hold on, love you, ego. You don't need to be fearful. I've got this now. Just like we started out today with the lesson that we learned from Liz, which was so beautiful. Thank you, Jenny, for all of that. I can't wait to hear about your Death Cafe. We're going to be making a place where your events that you guys are doing, your death cafes and things that you're hosting, that we'll be able to help you promote them as well from Doulagivers, because it's just so exciting to see all that you're doing, touching your communities. Okay, Laura, you are next. Just click your little mic there to unmute.
Yeah. Had to unmute myself. Sorry.
That's okay. How are you?
I'm a little slow on the uptake with that. Hi, I'm well, thank you. And I'm very excited to be here. It's my first Life Cafe with y'all. And
Welcome.
that's one of the main reasons I came on today, because I joined or signed up for the program in late fall last year, but I had, life happens and I had things that I had to take care of, and I'm just now starting to dive in. Very excited, so inspired. What brought me to this was a situation last year where I ended up being asked by my late husband's family to move in and take care of my father-in-law. So
Okay.
if you get that together, my husband is gone and he and I were separated, but I'm now asked to go in and be a live-in caregiver. No one knew that he was this close to passing. So I needed a place to live, and it was all going to work out really well, just life-wise. When I got there, very rapidly, it became clear that he was much closer to death than anyone knew. He was
Mhm.
91, and he declined very rapidly. And within, I guess it was about 2 weeks, he had passed. And I was there, and I found myself in this position of an in-home caregiver, all of a sudden being an end-of-life doula, having not even heard the words before,
Yep.
and discovered that it seemed to come to me intuitively. I was so comfortable,
Mhm.
and it was s- so easy for me to help the family create the spaces they needed to do what they needed to do. And all families have their, you know, old issues, and forgiveness that needs to happen, and maybe conversations, or even just sitting with them. And I
Mhm.
watched this man who, in all honesty, was rather intimidating to me. He and I always cared for each other as father-in-law, daughter-in-law, but suddenly, in a matter of just days, he was my best friend. I fell in love with the man, and he with me. And so, and I felt like the experience I come into this with is I have a master's degree in marriage family therapy. I'm an ordained minister of Vedanta, so a lot of Eastern philosophy studies,
Mhm.
a lot of spiritual work, and a lot of therapy work. So
Mhm.
that's been my path. And I also was with my mother at her death, and it was almost as if she summoned me to be there.
Mm.
Also, the last family member with my father. And so, anyway, okay, all that being said, that's where I'm coming from. I have not worked in a long time, um, because I've had other issues that had put me on disability, but I'm excited to create this new thing. And it was interesting when I was living with my father-in-law, and we didn't know he was going to pass. My son was down to visit, and he says, "So Mom, now, both of my husbands have passed away. I'm an older woman now. What are you going to do? You've got so much life left." I didn't have this answer yet.
Mhm.
Then my father-in-law passed, and the way that, our computers seem to be paying attention to what's happening in our lives, another end of life doula person came into my, vicinity, and
Mhm.
I talked to them, and et cetera. So this is where you ended up shining, Suzanne, because I chose Doula Givers. I just
Mhm.
love your energy, like others have said. I love how you focus on coming from the heart. Yes, we have
Mm.
to think and all of that, but come from the heart, follow your intuition. You can trust yourself. And
Mhm.
for me right now, I find that I'm working really hard on my self-confidence in this, and knowing that for what I have to bring, it doesn't have to be my family who's going to care for me just because I'm family. I can do this with people who don't know me.
Mhm.
Because the situation when my father-in-law finally passed, the feedback that I've received from my sisters-in-law and family has just been so positive.
Mhm.
And I feel like I made a difference. And I could cry right now because I feel like I made a difference. And I can't think of anything more that I would want to do with my life. That's why I went to school to become a therapist. That's why I went through training to become a minister. That's why I'm doing this now, is that if my if my ability to love and hold space
Mhm.
and be present for people can have an impact, then I'd love it too. And you know, hindsight's 2020, we all hear that.
Yeah.
Beginning this journey, which I'm really just at the very beginning,
Mhm.
but beginning this journey, um, I realized how I would have handled my father differently, and my father wouldn't have had to die alone because I knew he was on that. And instead of, I could have stayed with him and been in his presence, just held space. But I didn't have this understanding. And every time I have spoken to any of my friends or family about this and about how I would love to be a part of this movement to make it easier for us to talk about this most natural part of life. If I
Yes.
can be a part of these conversations and create a space, and I'm so excited about Beth's, what she planned, her Death Cafe that just exploded into something major. What exciting is that? What? I'm at the kind of precipice of wanting to plan something, but every conversation I've had with anybody close to me about this, they're like, yes, this is brilliant. This is what we need. Why has our culture made it so hard? And so
Yep.
I'm excited to be a part of what I feel is a movement that you're at the head of, Suzanne, to make it more comfortable for us to talk about this for ourselves, for our family, for our children. That I've got children in their young 30s that they can go through their life feeling more ready and less afraid. So I'm here to introduce myself. It's so exciting to put faces to names, and I'm not like a really active on Facebook kind of person. So this is great. I wanted to check in for a minute, meet you all, and I'm Laura in San Diego. If anybody else is local down here, I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to making friends across the world that are bridging this gap between fear of death and love and forgiveness in the face of death, because we're all facing it, you know. So thank you
Laura,
for letting me
thank
share.
you. I mean, you said it all. You know, we're showing up to change the world. So you're helping this very feared right now crisis, end of life. You're supporting the family in that, which they will remember forever, the children that are part of this family unit as well. But you're also, you know, bringing in again the presence, the compassion that we're in this together. That awareness changes the world. So it's so interesting that we're doing it through end of life, the life shift of how we make the world a better place. You know, I say ironically, but it's not. So, and it's something that we're all touched by. It just brings us the awareness that we're all so much more similar than different. And you, like you said, it's global. It's global. Like when you meet Irene from Uganda, who is in her 20s, wanting to be the doula for her community, and the love in the heart. When you meet Nina from the Ukraine, dealing with what their country is going through. When you have people in your groups that are from all over the world in this heart-centered space, making the shift. This is why we're here. This to me encompasses why we're in this human journey, and you're showing up to do that. I can't say how important this is. Look at this group, look at the love, look at the energy. Ah, thank you, Laura. That was absolutely beautiful. Mary Grace, you are next.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm from East Tennessee, and this is my first Life Cafe too. I joined last Thursday. And to be
Yay.
honest, I've been following you for a while, and I was kind of fangirling when you came on last Thursday. And but like everybody else, I love your energy and your heart focus.
Thank you.
I've had several relatives that have passed, but my birth mother was the one that really catapulted me into thinking about this, and not only about end of life care, but she had a do not resuscitate that was not honored, and she was
Oh,
put on life support.
oh boy.
And that was a whole different level of wanting to be able to talk to people and make sure that their wishes are known and respected. And I was able to be with her and hold her hand when she passed, actually in the hospital where she gave birth to me. But I had sat with some people at various stages, but never at the end.
Mhm.
So the death rattle and all of that was really traumatic to a bunch of family members that had not known about
Yes.
it. And so I realized that in our culture, we're doing ourselves a major disservice by not talking about this, because if we're prepared for that, I wouldn't, I hated that her do not resuscitate was not honored, but being able to be there for her, I wouldn't trade that for anything. And the tenderness of taking care of my father and think it's such a sacred honor that I just want to help more people be able to be present for that and navigate all of those waters. And then when I moved to where I am now, it's not a retirement place, but there's only about 3 of us that are under 65, and 2 of the oldest ladies here, we've become really good friends, and I've started helping take care of one a little bit with her nurse and taking her to appointments and things. And so I've been wanting to do the death doula for a while now, but having some specific people that their children aren't anywhere nearby. And so it just has
Yep.
really spoken to me, and I want to be more prepared to help them, as
Mhm.
well as then expand out to other people. But people have been stopping me when I'm walking my dog. Like, I hear you're taking a death doula class. And so it's nice to see that people are ready to have the conversations.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that my first sort of cafes are going to be here in this community, and there's a senior citizen place right behind that they're very much involved with us. So I'm just really looking forward to this journey with everyone, and it's really nice to meet everybody. And thank you, Suzanne, for helping to bring us all together and teach us.
It is my honor. Thank you for all being here, stepping forward. I love that. And if you, if Death Cafe is a little bit too much of a ping because you're in a senior center, go with, again, what resonates with your heart. You can do a Life Cafe. You can do the Good Death community, which I think we're going to start to really kind of dive into this movement of teachers and people out there doing the ripple effect. So that's something that's coming, again, putting that positive connotation about life within this mix. So just follow your heart with that. But that is beautiful. I love adopting a grandma or a grandpa or people. I mean, the love, the love, the love. We've really forgotten about our elders. So thank you for that. I love it. Dawn, and then Karen, and then we'll do our meditation. Hi, Dawn.
Hey, forgive me if I start coughing. I'm fighting the flu right
Oh,
now.
okay.
But I guess what I wanted to say is I've been I guess I've been preparing for this my whole life, from the time
Yep.
I was like 18, I was working in senior facilities and, end of life care facilities.
Hmm.
All this kind of stuff. But of course, I, like others, have moments of imposter syndrome. I'm like, who the heck am I to be doing this? And what the heck am I doing? And I don't know what I'm talking about and blah, blah, blah. And Laura, who just spoke, I mean, I relate to her completely. We're both in San Diego. Laura, I don't know where you are, but I put my telephone number in the chat. I'm an OB. I don't know where you are.
Great.
Uh, but I'm sure I can drive to you. I also have been on disability and not worked for a while, so I'm like worried about getting out there and giving up my disability to, match,
Mhm.
an income to help me survive. I'm up to the point where I'm ready to take my test for the certified end of life doula part, and of course I'm a little freaked out, so I'm not doing it now because I'm sick, but I don't know, I get really scared of tests. So anybody who has anything to say about test taking, please let me know. And I also wanted to ask you, I have both my mother and my father, I didn't even know the word end of life doula, but I was for both of them and other friends. You said that you can actually use past experiences for the
Mhm. Yep.
okay,
Towards your hours. Mhm.
that's good because like I sat vigil in a
Mhm.
hospice with my friend till he was taken off life support. With my mother, I think it was really awful. I wish I would have known what I know from this course right now. Just some very specific things. I
I
would
know.
not have taken her to the hospital. I would have kept her at home
I know.
and it would have been really peaceful. But instead, I took her to the hospital. She suffered for a month. They did not follow her directives. They didn't even have any morphine to give her at the end of her life. They wanted to kick me out of the hospital because I was telling the charge nurse off. And he's like, I'm gonna have you removed by security. I'm like, I've been here for a month. I said bedside with my mother for a month while they tortured her, and then offered hospice in the last 12 hours of her life. I
Oh,
just was so
God.
disgusted by what I saw. That is really propelling me. I the other day I was going through my notes about doula givers, and I really saw this course in 2021. And I have all the same notes, but I wasn't prepared to start because it was too soon after my mother's death.
Sure.
But here I am now, and I'm ready to take the test. So I don't know, give me some confidence here.
You got it. So first of all, I want you to know that when we move forward, so first of all, I want to take the word test and let's throw that out. Let's just transmute that. It's not, you're validating what you've already learned and you've learned it when you go through that course. So let's take the word test out of there. And just say, oh, I'm just going to show that I've learned the things so that I can go serve. So that's really important. And the other thing about your mom, so I want to just surround you with a lot of love in this moment. That story and that journey is such a teaching moment for all of us to move forward and to make positive change here. And also, I will tell you this, that when you do move forward and you're serving your families with that awareness of what not to do and not to go down, it's going to heal that time that you had as well. So we honor your mom for allowing us to have such a powerful teaching moment for all of us, because we will use that story that you just shared and really help to fuel us to get out there, to have people do advanced directives, to make sure they have what they need to be at home. So there's going to be a lot of, I feel like, energetic healing around that. And I think, I hate to even say it, but I really feel like doula givers, the whole course was what not to do, what didn't go well, and the few that did go well. And that's a very sad statement, but now you all are helping families to do what can go well, and it's their journey. So thank you, Dawn, for that. Take those words that bring reactive out of it. It's not out of it. When you feel better, go ahead and sit down and do it. You can do it as many times as you need to. You're not going to. If you've gone through the course, you're going to get it.
May I
But
add one more? May I add one more thing?
yes,
I,
ma'am.
I, I neglected to say, when my mother, she had a massive heart attack and a massive hemorrhagic stroke. They gave her like 6 weeks to live. I brought her from Florida to California, and she lived on my couch for 6 years. 6 years I cared for her
Wow.
in my home, turning my home into like a nursing facility, and she
Wow.
was fine. And that's what really hurts the most, is that last month of her life could have been so much more peaceful for me, for her, for our family, but now it's what propels me to do,
Absolutely.
to
So
do this.
your why, like when you do your Life Cafe, Death Cafe, whatever it is, or when you just share that story of why you're here, that you don't have to do anything else. Like that makes all of us say, oh my gosh, I want to make sure that I have the support that I need and my family's wishes and because again, it falls on the family to do the care. If they don't feel confident or know how to do that, that's the gaps. Like that's where we fall down. So making sure that they know there's free resources, that there's doulas there.
Just a little morphine,
Beautiful.
and I could have had her
Yeah.
at home. It would have been
Well, that's
fine.
what yeah. And that's what I mean. So planning ahead. So Dawn, yeah, your mother is a teacher and she's a gift for all of us to learn from. And you are as well. Thank you so much for that. Can't
Thank
wait
you.
to celebrate you. Okay, Karen, take us home. You're our last share.
Just thank you so much, everyone, and just I just want to respond to two things. First thing I want to respond to, and I hope I can get through this without crying. First thing is, who am I? Who am I to do this? From the Marianne Williamson poem, "Who are you not to?" You're divine. You don't just wake up one morning and say, I think I'm going to be a death doula. It's something that has been swirling in your heart. So who are you not to? So in those moments of imposter syndrome, just take the step. Say, thank you for sharing. I got work to do. Other thing that really touched my heart, and I think, Mary Grace, you were the one who said it, how sacred, how very sacred this work is. It's like I meet people. I just recently met someone and my heart has been cracked open by being able to be in a space with someone at this moment, knowing that I'm going to be in this space at some time too. But creating these relationships and opening your heart to be the guide, to be the shepherd, to be that person who just supports, and not even just, who supports families like a nest supports a family of birds.
Yeah.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. And thank you so much, Suzanne, for bringing us all together.
Thank you. Thank you all for showing up. I always say, look, it's great that you could write a course. You all showed up to take it and are making the ripple effect in the world. And I also want to say that, Karen's exactly right. This is not about, has nothing to do with me. And I think we really need to resonate with that when we're being called forth and we're being a co-creator with God's source, with oneness. We're stepping into that space of speaking for those who can't speak for themselves, being in this, it has nothing to do with us. And that really helps you to shift from the focus of ego on me, because it has nothing to do with us, and really just being a heart of oneness. And so when she says, who am I not to do this? The worst thing we could ever do is not answer the call of our heart on so many levels. So okay, Roxanne, your hand just went up. We do want to go into our meditation, but I'd love to have you share if you'd like to.
Sorry.
Hi.
Hi. I just had a quick comment. I had the opportunity to be interviewed by University of Washington students who was taking an anthropology of death class.
Beautiful.
And it was really interesting to see a younger generation's take on this. She had never heard of it before. I'm friends with her mother who introduced us. And so I reached out to her professor to see if that class might be interested in a death cafe. I just emailed her yesterday, so I haven't heard back, but I found this generation to be really, really interested and inquisitive, and they haven't, just like a lot of us, haven't had a lot of opportunity to talk about it. But they're going to experience a real onslaught of what's to come. Being just a couple decades younger. So I'm sure there are more anthropology departments in every state that offer interesting similar classes that might be a good place to also reach out for death cafes.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, even psychology departments. So I've been, I taught at Connecticut College.
Or
You're
religion
exactly right.
departments.
Yeah. And the younger generation is, because they realize that we didn't do a very good job here. So it's time to make anew, and the questions, and they're beautiful when you work. And again, this is about a cultural shift that we are being asked to make, not just in death, but also in life. So get out there. We'll have many different ways and support systems for you to be able to do that. But that's an awesome one, colleges and schools. In fact, there was a congregation that asked me to come speak to their group of children about death. And who's the coolest audience? These little ones who are just curious and asking questions. I have a picture. I'm going to post that picture in your groups of them all smiling and just they're like, yeah, my grandpa died. And my gosh, guys, this is a whole shift. Thank you so much for all of the shares. What an incredible group. We are going to now, if you're new here, we go into our end of the meeting meditation, where we again bring in that beautiful, loving energy into our hearts and then send it out to the world. So if you feel called, you can close your eyes and just follow along and enjoy. We start with 3 deep breaths. So how we do this is you breathe through your nose with your mouth closed, like you're smelling a beautiful flower, and then breathe out through your mouth. This actually helps us get into our parasympathetic nervous system, but also the being part of who we are. So there's little techniques, and it's really fascinating how there's actually 2 of us. There's the ego, the personality, there's the being part of us, but also you have your sympathetic nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, you have your right side of your brain, your left side of your brain. There's different things in your body that all coincide with the human being that you are. And it's very important for you to know how to reconnect with that calm heart guidance. And here we are. So we're going to do 3 deep breaths and then bring in the light. Breathe in and hold and let it go. Breathe in and hold and let it go. Breathe in and hold and let it go. And we let go of all the worry, all the chatter. We really start to connect with our heart center, with our bodies, with that grounded feeling that we have now. And our eyes are closed, but we imagine that we are outside and the clouds part and the sun is so bright right above your head. Your eyes are closed, but you see yellow or orange. And now that beautiful sun is coming right above the top of your head. You may feel a little tingling. You could feel a little bit of warmth, and it's opening up the top of your head and pouring into your beautiful body golden, loving light that's just bathing you in health, bathing you in love, bathing you in connectedness. Going down your spine and going through all of your chakras to the root chakra, and now going through the root chakra to the center of the earth, swirling around, coming back up your root chakra, up your spine, up to that high sun. And now this light is going to expand about 6 feet from your physical body, bathing all of your aura, all of your cells in this healing, loving light. You're now fully aligned with this. Again, going down your spine and washing anything away that's not serving your highest consciousness. Going through the root chakra, center of the earth, and now swirling around. This ball of light is swirling around. And when it comes back up, we are going to, with intention, send this light out through our heart chakras to each and every one in this group, and then send it out and expand it to the world at large. If you feel called, you can put your hands over your heart chakra. And as this beautiful ball of light comes back up through your root chakra, now it's bursting through your hands, through your heart chakra, and swirling around each and every one of you in this group. When we are together, the energy magnifies significantly. The love, the intention, the healing of this world magnifies significantly. And all this light is swirling around you, so joyous in this moment that we are here together. And now we're going to send this bubble of light. You're going to imagine it like a golden bubble of light to your community members and family members, surrounding them all. Yes, all of them. Nobody is left out. Because we know in truth that we are all connected to this loving light, even if those in this journey are so far away from that light and in darkness, they are still all connected to this loving, unconditional, loving light. So we surround them all and want them to feel that love and remember that. And now pick the state that you live in. So take that state in your mind's eye and surround the state or province in a golden bubble of light. We just hold it there and we just send love. Now take the country that you live in and surround it in a golden bubble of light. Yeah, this is the time. This is the shift. This is the time where we see the reality of making choices of people and institutions and ego mind running amok. And we see people illuminating and waking up. And we're really being forced to make a choice. There's really not a lot of gray area. We're being presented with all opportunities for growth of choosing. And again, there's no judgment here, but this is the shift that's happening. And we do know that growth is painful. So having the techniques and the understanding, it doesn't have to be. We can go through this. We can shift through this and help others to see the light through the chaos that's out in our world right now. Take your country, hold it in a golden bubble of healing light. Now take another country or countries that you would like to hold in intention and send this loving, healing light extensively to them that are particularly going through their challenges. Now, please take the earth globe in your mind's eye and surround it in either a golden bubble of light or a golden pyramid, letting every being, every element, every animal, every blade of grass, every part of this beautiful earth be sent and felt this loving, healing light we're sending and holding in space. So just picture and just send that love. And I want to invite you now to add anyone or anything you'd like this special group healing sent to. And we always want to give gratitude and thanks for being able to be a part of this journey at this time. And we humbly ask to see, to know how we can show up to be of the highest service to ourselves and to the universe. Breathe into that and let it go. And so it is. Namaste. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the room. So reminding us that every day, our choosing of how we show up, what vibration we hold, holding compassion, holding love, is all we need to do to create the shift. And really taking our hands off the wheel and letting our heart guide us to where we're supposed to go. And with that, thank you all for letting your hearts guide you here. It is such an honor to be with you. You are changing the world. And thank you so much for all that you do. So thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your day. If you need anything, post it in the groups, and I'll be posting the children picture of talking to the children and a couple other things that I want to share with you. Thank you all for showing up and answering this call. Have a beautiful rest of your day, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. You can throw up some hearts if you want at the end as we close out. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. How beautiful. All right. Enjoy your day, everyone. Love to you.